battle the sea monster for a peaceful life. So it can be said that the bridge is more than a symbol of Hoi An. It is the best evidence for trade exchange between Hoi An people and Japanese and Chinese people in the previous centuries. When it comes to Hoi An, we cannot but mention the assembly halls of Chinese in this ancient town. Chinese people came to Hoi An to live and do business very early, about in the 17th century. They set up trade guilds and lived and did business harmoniously with the locals and people from other countries. When living in this ancient town, they had built many remarkable architectural buildings, such as ancestral worshipping houses, temples and assembly halls. And the assembly halls are the most typical buildings in terms of architecture and using purposes. The assembly halls were designed for activities of fellow countrymen associations, dedicated to guardian gods and celebrities of the preceding generation. 5 assembly halls of Chinese people in Hoi An have been kept in good condition. The ancient town stands out with houses with typical appearance, where the locals live and practice their traditional crafts. These houses are special because they have a narrow front and are pretty deep, making a pretty slim house that connects the 2 parallel streets together. Such houses are very good for business activities. The roof is remarkable with yin-yang tiles. That is a row of tiles placed with their face down. The rows of tiles create lines on the sloped roof. Yin-yang tiles are part of the mixed Chinese and Vietnamese architecture. Basically, a house in Hoi An consists of 3 main compartments, with certain purposes, for business activities, living activities and worshipping activities. The compartments are arranged lengthwise. A house is used for many purposes at the same time. It is built in harmony with the surrounding landscape. This is a typical feature of Southeast Asian architecture. Dan Kentucky Ancient House is one of the noticeable ancient house in Hoi An. The house is located at number 101 Nguyen Tai Hoc Street. On the main entrance door is a pair of eyes in the shape of the yin-yang circle. Like human eyes, the eyes of the house leave the very first impression on visitors, and carry the owner's wishes of prosperity and happiness. So far 7 generations of a family have lived in this house. Dan Kentucky Ancient House has many vestiges that are the evidence for the most brilliant time of Hoi An, when trade activities with foreign partners flourished and rich traders built luxury houses. Despite changes made by the time and floods, the house remains almost intact because it was built from good materials. Wooden pillars create the frame of the house which supports the roof, eases the pressure on all the walls of the house. We can see elements of the Japanese architecture, such as the Chongrong-Jathu style, that is beams piled up into the shape of a hand with 5 fingers. Curved beams consolidate the house. The frame to support the eaves of the house is carved with images of carp. As for Chinese people, carp is the symbol of good luck. As for Japanese people, it means power. And Vietnamese people see it as the symbol of prosperity. This 200-year-old house has a system of rafters that divide its compartments lengthwise, a typical feature of Vietnamese ancient architecture. Like many other ancient houses, Dan Kin Chucky has two fronts. One is used for trade activities, and the other facing the river is the place where goods are exchanged. Tourists can find interesting features of Chinese sculpture through carvings of bat and pomegranate. For example, the symbol of good things. Decoration items inside the house are mainly made of wood and carved elaborately, reflecting the well-off life of the house owners of different generations. Plus, Dan Kin Chucky Ancient House still keeps a pair of parallel sentences, a row of willows several hundreds of meters long can stop a remote rain. A piece of the moon 10 square centimeters can light up a room full of books. In terms of sculpture, remarkably, these Han characters create 100 birds that are going to fly into the sky. Here comes another ancient house that bears typical features of Hoi An architecture. It's stuck an ancient house at number 129 Tran Phu Street. Stepping into the 180-year-old house, we can see ancientness from very simple utensils of the house owners. Despite phases of modern life, scenes of daily activities in the past seem to be revived through the furniture and utensils that have been kept intact up to now. That's why visitors can easily recognize how precious the ancient beauty of things in the house is. And perhaps this beauty has become part of memories of the old days. Despite yearly floods and restorations, time-honored cultural values of an ancient house have been kept nearly intact. The living room plays a very important role in an ancient house. Here the owners of the house place a set of sofa and hang many horizontal lacquered boards, pairs of parallel sentences, and sets of 4 pictures. The solemn arrangement in the living room as such shows the depth of the owner's soul and their appreciation of fine values of Vietnamese culture. The altar is well placed to show respect to the succeeding generation toward the ancestors.